we were flying supplies into China, and the most of the things we flew was gasoline for the aircraft, right. And they had some American aircraft and equipment over there, just enough to hold on. Chiang Kai-shek, I think it was, had the nationalist Chinese, and the communists were standing back in the shadows. And we had Kunming. You already talked about. There's another base way up in the northwest of there. They put some B-29s up there, and I flew one trip up there. But that was a pretty nice base. When we arrived, they reassigned us. So I was already assigned to a place called Moinbury. Charles Gruber, who was the pilot, was kept at Chapel. That was the headquarters of this whole complex. And I didn't ever get much contact with him. But I found out we didn't have any airplanes. Chapel had a few. Sukating had most of the planes that had come in, and they had crashed most of them. And what happened? You get up to high altitude, you had to fly the lowest level. When I got there, 15,000 feet, and we didn't have pressurization. We didn't have any heating or anything in the airplane. And when we first started flying over there, I had all these fur-lined stuff to wear over there. It would be hot. We'd get into my plane and you'd get in our underwear and we'd climb up a little bit. We put on our suits, and then after that we put on our fur-lined stuff and to go the rest of the way over the mountains. And it was a while. The stuff started to come in, and we had all our equipment except the aircraft. And then a couple 3 weeks, they had started. We got one airplane. They started getting a few airplanes, and we had a navigator on each. The crew that went over. When we went over the cruise, we had one navigator on every third crew, I think. And by the time we got them, they started attack reps coming over. These aircraft had never been tested properly before they put them into production, really, and into operation. They simply had not been C-46, and they were. This gradually worked out. By the time we got all of our aircraft, they weren't quite so bad. But then they came in and said to us, you have a navigator on every aircraft that goes out, and you're losing. You lose a navigator every night. You lose it, and we'll all be gone here shortly. And so why put the navigators on there? So we left off. They took them off. But it didn't make much sense to have them on there anyway. If there's some special reason to have a navigator, they would need to swing a compass or going to some other base or something that we could put a navigator on. But things were a little bit better because they thought they were at least getting this problem worked out. And now I had one day. I was like it was on Sunday. After I got there a while. Then I got checked out as a pilot. I went through co-pilot there for a while. Then I got checked out, and it didn't take long to do that. And the day I checked out, they had me. The check pilot we had every day we had a flight that made a circle of all these bases in our operational area there. and there's mail and there's all things to carry and do. And so he said, okay, well, you get lots of landings, take off some landings, but it's a good practice time, and but then you'll get you qualified to fly the first pilot. And everything went fine. I didn't have any problem. We got to the last stop. We got to Jorhat, and we had something happen. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but when we landed, it seemed like one of the props wasn't just right. These were electric props, and so he said, what did he say? He said, I said, I'll drive it. I'll fly it and back into Moenbury. And he did. We took off, and well, it got up to the prop run away. It wouldn't control us. It just flattened out. It was just spinning real fast and wasn't pulling in the air at all. It wasn't pulling the aircraft through the air, and so we pulled it back and just let it. We couldn't feather it. When if it was out, we could just feather it normally and just put it like I said. It's not a drag. So we just let it rotate. So I was on that side where the prop was acting up. Well, all of a sudden we picked up a little speed, airspeed. What was this? And I looked over there and I think the prop was gone. And I never heard of another one coming off. A prop coming off, but that was a one-time thing that happened that didn't seem to be anything that was a real common problem. So after that, then I was, of course, I took everything seriously. We were in Kunming one day. I don't know what. I think it was on Sunday. And there was quite a lot of aircraft in the there. We were cutting up to where there were a lot of traffic. I said, I'm going to this aircraft is capable of going to 20,000 feet. I'm gonna go back at 20,000 feet today, see what it's like, and I get another good look at the camellias. And so I was at 20,000 feet going along, and another problem that I didn't mention, it starts freezing up, and then it gets hot. The oil in the engine, and we have gauges that shows the heat, oil heat, and the carburetor heat. We have heaters to control all this stuff. Well, I was cruising along a beautiful sunny afternoon, and it was warm. And that day we didn't have any clothes on. It was warm enough in the aircraft. Well, the right engine quit, and I looked over there, and we had a problem with the oil, and well, I used some heat on the carburetor, and the engine came back. Just got it back, and the other one quit. And so I did the same procedure there, and I got it back, and didn't have any more trouble with the engines. But I hadn't been watching the heat, and we had a few indications that would give you a clue that you might be going to have some problems. I think I told about the time that the Japanese Army tried to cut us off, I guess in 44. We discovered that they were preparing to make an invasion into eastern India. Well, the way we got our supplies, we flew over the hump, they got up a little narrow gauge railroad up the eastern India, and they kept busy, and they kept bringing us all the material, they kept they could bring in everything that the number of airplanes that we had could, we could use it full time. And the big volume, of course, was fuel for the aircraft. It got a little bit scary there, so we stopped. We had to stop all of our hump flying and everything, and fly troops into that area to stop the Japanese invasion. And it took about a week to get that done. Position up there would have been useless without that railroad. And but we didn't get into actually any combat. We were just flying, moving troops and all the supplies into that area to combat the pretty prominent, I'd say, invasion. Really, it was pretty good, pretty good. But we had plenty of troops in training there in that area to use to go right across Burma on the road on the Burma road. But then another thing having to do with troops, I brought in one day when I was deported. I don't know when it was. It was about halfway through my tour, I think. I was unloaded in Kunming, and they said, "You have some passengers to take back." I said, "I can't take passengers. I don't have any seat belts. I don't have any parachutes. I don't have anything for passengers at all." And they said, "You will take these passengers. They are Chinese recruits." And so they came in, but before they got in, they had this big wooden bowl. And I didn't think anything what they were doing. They put this put right in the middle of the aircraft. It wasn't tied down or anything, but it was in there. And we had about half of them loaded, and here one of them started out running across toward the outside of the border of the airport, but a gang of them went after him and brought him back and put him on the aircraft. But he just looked up at the airplane and just started running. And I said, this brings up a lot of questions. I have nothing for convenience or safety for these people. If we have an engine failure and we have to bail out or something. They said, "Well, no questions are asked. You just take these people, and what happens, you use your own judgment." And so I didn't have any questions. They didn't even ask me if I could put them on the boat. They said I was going to carry them. So we did fine. It happened to be a nice, quite calm day. We didn't have any rough weather, and I was to let them off at the first airport we had, the foothills there. The first one toward the hump, and we hit the Superting. And we looked back there. That big bowl was full, completely full. Not one drop was on the airplane at all. It was all in that bowl. And they got most of the aircraft, most of the people off the aircraft. Then they But moved the bowl out carefully and didn't spill anything, and that was the end of that.
What was in the bowl?
Vomit. I mean, it was a lot of it.